Hello out there. We're on the air. Welcome back. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Bitcoin Journey. Lots of people in the chat this morning. It's good to see. People are paying attention to Bitcoin. Well, 22 out of 8 billion people anyways. Oh man. How are we doing? How are we doing? Let me get settled in here a little bit. I forgot to do a couple things, but we'll make it work. We got the return of Bitcoin Q&A today. We were doing this once a week for a while. Every Thursday. No, every Friday. Because I had golf on Thursdays. Oh, is that Arnie? Is that Arnie coming to say hi? There he is. Good morning. Say hi to everybody. Say hi, everybody. Thanks for the zaps yesterday. Where was I? I don't even know. I don't know. Arnie threw me off. Anyways, let's just start fresh here. Welcome to another episode. Oh, that was what I was talking about, Q&A. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Bitcoin Journey. This show focuses on actionable and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for future Bitcoiners. I figured I'd move out of the way a little bit here so everybody can see Arnie, because I blocked him yesterday and he took off. So I'll make sure he's visible. How's the Zap stream doing? We got Letha's over there. Good morning, Letha. Zap 420 sats to start the show today. Thank you, Letha. Let's edit this stream info so we're up to date for the return of Bitcoin Q&A. And what should we do today? Some sats for the show. Let's just do that. Just some sats for the show, for the fund, for the treasury, for the strategic Bitcoin reserve of this household. Well, what a guy. Oh, well, we got to see him at least. He just crashed. So every Friday we were doing Bitcoin Q&A, and I stopped doing it because it was just too much. There's too many questions. I couldn't really keep up. And so yeah, we're back today though, because I had to cut the show off early yesterday. And so I wrote down a bunch of questions from the chat. I got a couple more questions in the chat, at least to get us going, get us started. I know we're not going to have any shortage of questions today. So what I would say is, if you want to ask a question, I'm going to go through these ones first. And if you want to ask a question, make sure to put it in all caps. I'm going to try to keep up with the chat as best as I can. So put it in all caps just so I see it. And yeah, I don't know how long it's going to be today, but we'll get through all the questions. That's my promise to you. And if you want, yeah, no, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Let's start with the mempool though. Actually, you know what? We're going to start with the mempool. We're going to watch the video that we were supposed to watch yesterday. We're going to talk about it, and then we're going to do some Q&A. How does that sound? We also got to say some good mornings though too. Morning, Jay. Clean your machine. I mean, clean any machine that you got. That's good advice, especially if you got some of these bit axes kicking around. They get pretty full of dust and hair and shit. So make sure you clean your machine, whatever machine you're talking about. Ryan, all right, here's a question. Let's start the show hot today. Ryan says, my question is, will Bitcoin dominance continue to drastically increase if ETFs keep buying and Bitcoin strategic reserves happen? Alts then dump. Yeah, that's kind of been my thesis for the last 6 months. I said, you know, the alts might go up a little bit. You know, we might have some pumps, a lot of dumps, some more pumps, even more dumps. But like the big money is in Bitcoin. Nobody's building a strategic Doge reserve right now. Nobody's building a strategic Ethereum reserve right now, right? All the big capital from the banks, from the funds, from the countries, everybody is buying Bitcoin, not anything else. And so just the inflow of capital is going to boost this thing. But you also have to consider then all of these people now have stake in Bitcoin. They want Bitcoin to succeed. So they're not only going to be investing capital, they're going to be investing more of their human capital, of their investments, not financially, but like they're wanting to push Bitcoin forward. So they're going to be building teams, they're going to be building products, they're going to be building more services around Bitcoin. And it's just going to create this flywheel effect. And so I do think that the Bitcoin dominance is going to continue. And my theory on this is like all coins will be around in 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I don't know which ones will be. I don't know which ones will be successful. I don't know which ones will be used the most, which ones I will need. So in the meantime, I'm just going to store all of my energy in Bitcoin. And then when I need those down the line, if I need them, then I'll swap my Bitcoin for that. Ian, good morning. Happy Tip Top Thursday. Bodie's in the chat. Ooh, Zapstream's quiet today. Oh, I only got 36 sats left on here. That almost ended. Zapstream almost ended today. I have an ask for everybody right now. I have a small ask of everybody. Can you go to I know we've been doing pretty good, but we've been trying to move people over from YouTube to Zapstream. That's where this channel is going eventually. I eventually want to get off of YouTube and just stream on Zapstream. And it's very difficult when the majority of people still watch on YouTube. That's why I'm still streaming on YouTube. But if everybody could just try it out, you don't have to stick around for the whole show today, but just type in your browser instead of on YouTube, go to sats.gg or zap.stream. sats.gg or zap.stream, and just try it out. See what the experience is like. Throw a few comments on there. I don't know if I'm thinking you have to fund your wallet through there right off the bat, but I'm not 100% sure. But just give it a try today. Give it a spin. The show is live over there right now, so you can join in the chat. I don't think you need to create a profile or connect you probably have to put in a name. But I don't think you have to connect it to NOSTR or anything like that. I'm pretty sure you can just enter your name in there. So just go try that out. I can see the number of viewers, so I can see how many people are actually going to try it out. But I see Marius is over there. Good morning, Marius. And Jason checking in on the Zap stream. Good morning. Bodie says, good morning. Does the Fed actually have the gold? No. I doubt that they do. Ron Paul has asked for an audit for decades. Will Bitcoiners lead everyone else through the big transition? Yes. Oh, we just got a big boost to Zapstream right now. We went from 3 people to 13 in about 3 seconds there. So that's pretty impressive, I would say. Nice work, everybody. Ginger, good morning. Tom, hey, Rick's in the chat, and Tom. Everybody's here, and Dale. Anyone bought the dip? How about smash the like? That's a great question, Rick. Let's audit this. We can't audit the Fed. We can't audit the gold, but we can audit the likes. We have 43 people in here and 27 likes. That's pretty good. We'll take that. We'll take that. And if you're stubborn and you don't want to join the Zap stream today, but you still want to send some sats into the show, we don't want to get into any more fights in the chat today. So here it is. This is me begging for sats. You can send it to Arnie's wallet right there. Dale, good morning. Badger, good to see you, my friend. Whoa, settle down. Settle down, volume. Oh, Zapstream's buzzing. 27 people in there. What's up, Zapstream? Zapstream might be my focus here for a while if the chat gets humming. Wald of Satoshi's over there. I don't know if that's the real Wald of Satoshi or not. Ryan, morning, Jor. Hope you have a snowblower. Oh my God, man. This winter's been awful. We did get a snowblower this year, thank God. The last couple of years, like we have quite a long driveway here. Like, I mean, you could guess. And we've been hand bombing it for the last couple of years. I've been buying Bitcoin instead of other stuff. So, I mean, it's a good workout. You get some fresh air. Very good workout. but we got a snowblower this year, but there's still a very long, like there's a private road. I'm sure everybody's seen in front of the house here. There's a private road, and municipality won't plow it for some reason. I have no idea why. They said it's a private road. So we said, okay, well, we'll block it off then, because snowmobiles always drive through and fuck things up, like with ruts and shit. So like, well, no, you can't block it. Like, so it's not a private road then. Anyways, it's just insane. Like, we pay so much in property taxes here, and we literally have nothing. We get nothing from it. But they can't even plow a road here. So if anybody from the municipalities watching this right now, number one, buy Bitcoin. Number two, start plowing my road. But yeah, it's just been nuts. Like, I looked on the back deck. I've shoveled that thing 5 or 6 times already this year, and it's already 3 or 4 feet high on the deck. Can't even get to the barbecue. But that's why I'm here, because I want to eventually spend a couple months in a warm spot every year. That's what we're working towards. All right, let me quickly share this on NOSTR and see. Let's see who shows up. Give me 1 sec here. Hello out there. We're on the air. Somebody had a really nice, they tagged me in a post yesterday. I was blown away. And I'll read it in 1 sec here. Join us in the live chat on Zapstream. That was pretty easy. All right, let's see. See who shows up. Still got quite a few people in Zapstream. Zapstream, if you're watching and you get a profile, say hello. So the post that somebody put out is the Blockchain Yogi. So shout out to Blockchain Yogi. This is I obviously see most of the comments. I enjoy the majority of them. My favorite comment to get is that this is an underrated channel. I think that's the highest compliment that someone can give me. But the Blockchain Yogi said, few of the best podcasters / YouTubers faves of mine. HODL, BTC Sessions, Johor, Joe Nakamoto, Guy Swan, and Jack Mahlers. I mean, I think that the Blockchain Yogi is quite a bit out to lunch there, but I was still pretty proud to see that for sure. So shout out to the Blockchain Yogi for even thinking about me in that group of people. Ian. Oh, we got Ian already. Just asking questions if people have smashed the like yet. Jason, good morning. Pedro. Mert, good morning. Kyle says, I think it'll be another volatile day, up or down, time will tell. Yeah, just like every day. Hey, we got Badger over in Zapstream. We got Ian over there. And we got Bodie. That's what we love to see. The Zapstream is filling up. Captain wants us over here. Yeah, it's, I mean, I say this all the time, but it's absolutely true. Like, Bitcoin is not just money. Bitcoin is a whole revolution of moving from a broken, corrupt, centralized system into a open source, decentralized, abundant world. And we're not going to move fast enough if we're playing around on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. We need to be utilizing some of the tools that are available to us as Bitcoiners. And some of these things just work incredibly well, including Zapstream, most days. But still, overall, the fact that you can send somebody value instantly without anybody's permission is a big deal. And so we need to use these tools that are available. Otherwise, people will stop building them. So that's why I encourage people just today, during the show today, just go over there and check it out. Go to sats.gg or zap.stream. Create a quick profile, say hello, and just see what the experience is like. Try it out. I'm paying my rent over there, so we might as well get people using it. Mert says, let's talk about the Fed a little bit. What is your thoughts on yesterday? I mean, I don't really have any thoughts. I'm kind of past the point of trying to figure out if this happens, what will happen with Bitcoin, right? Because we've seen over the last 10 years, the rates have gone up, the rates have gone down. They've printed more money. They've issued more debt. They've sent money to other countries. Throughout that whole time, the one thing that's been consistent is that Bitcoin has gone up over time. Some days, some weeks it goes down. Some weeks it goes up. We have good months, we have bad months. But over the long term, no matter what they do, Bitcoin is going to continue to reprice everything and continue to go up. So I don't really know or care, to be honest with you. I know that's probably a bad answer, but that's just the reality of things here. Hey, James Bond is in the chat. Can be here often, but can't be here often, but happy to see you. Bodhi's at 420 sats. Thank you, Bodhi. Thank you. And actually, I should give a couple shout outs here from the Zap. So if you want to send a Zap in, if you don't want to move over to Zapstream, you can send it to Arnie's wallet there. Or let me give you the URL if you want to type it in there instead, if you don't like scanning QR codes. But I want to give a couple shout outs yesterday because we had a couple fat Zaps yesterday, fatties. And the first one was 25,000 sats. 25,000 sats. And I'm not going to dox him because I don't know. He's a fella in Ireland. He's a really good fella in Ireland. One of my favorite guys. He's been around the channel for a very long time. And he's been more than supportive for this channel, more than supportive. So I wanted to give a big shout out to our good friend in Ireland who sent a 25,000 sat Zap yesterday. And the second one, this is a cool one. And this really got me thinking about a lot of different things and a lot of different ways I'm going to conduct business in the future. So I know there's a lot of people out there who have questions, right? And there's only I would say a handful of people, honestly, a handful of people on the internet right now who are trustworthy enough to get advice from regarding Bitcoin. And it's difficult. And I understand this. Again, when I was first getting into Bitcoin and crypto myself, I spent $500 US on some guy's videos. I didn't even get to talk to him. I didn't get to ask him any questions. I just paid $500 US so I could figure out how to buy Bitcoin, send Bitcoin, receive Bitcoin, and a few other things along the way, and a few crypto things as well. But I get it. Most people who offer advice around Bitcoin online, they're like $500. So a lot of them are like $500 per hour, right? And so, anyways, if you go to my website, if you go to my Calendly, if you have any questions, the way it's been going so far is I give a rate per hour. People can ask any questions they want. But I think the challenge for a lot of people is they're like, well, I only have like one main question here. This is going to take like 5 minutes. So anyways, I helped a guy yesterday, and shout out if you're watching the show today, but I helped a guy in the US. He just had a couple questions. He's asking about Ledger and a few other things around Bitcoin. And so I met with him for 15 or 20 minutes. The call ended. I didn't really, I didn't say, here, you owe me this amount of money. I didn't say anything. And then like a couple hours later, I checked the wallet, Arnie's wallet, and he sent a Zap. He sent a Zap for, well, I won't say the amount, but it says, thanks for the meeting and the information today. And I just think that that's how things should be, right? Because the world that we live in now, the prices of things, here's how I look at it. It's like, okay, well, let's say that I have a website. Let's say that I value my time around $200 per hour, right? Or I have a video or a course that I post and I sell it for $100. That's my opinion on it. That's not your opinion. It should be up to the person who's consuming the information, who's consuming the content. That's who should get to decide what the price is. Because that video or that piece of content or that course, it could have changed somebody's life. That might be worth $5,000 to them, maybe $10,000 to them. And I'm only putting $100 on there. So I love the idea. And it kind of goes back to what the guy was asking about yesterday is like, why are you begging for sats? I'm not. I'm just giving you the opportunity to send value back to me, whatever you receive from watching the show every day. That's it. And so I love the idea of like, if there's anybody out there, and this is what I'm going to ask of the community here is like, if you have any questions, no matter how big, how small, if you're losing sleep around anything and you don't want to pay $200 for 10 minutes and then draw it out for the next 45 minutes, just so I can extract some money from you, just set up a meeting. We'll chat. You can ask any questions you want. And then after the conversation, after the meeting, you can send me whatever value that you receive from it. Could be 1,000 sats. It could be 100,000 sats. So that's how I'm going to start structuring things. I just think that that makes so much more sense than how the current pricing and the current economy works. And again, on the other side of that, let's say that I set up a course for $100. Somebody gets $10,000 worth of value for that. They're probably not going to pay me $10,000, but they can send me whatever they feel is fair. And on the other side of that, if they watch that video or watch that course and they don't learn anything from it, they thought it was a waste of time, they don't need to send anything. But if I charge them $100, that's going to leave a sour taste in their mouth and they're going to not return to my channel or anything again. So I love that. And that's why I love things like Zapstream. That's why I love things like NOSTR. The value for value thing, although it's still very fresh and not many people are doing that, I think it makes so much sense. So that's what I want to say on that today. All right, let's get to some more questions here. Bon, good to see you. Oh, Lee, look at this. I love you. Moi. Wow. Take it easy. Take it easy. And I'm not going to say I love you back because I don't know who the heck you are. So I love everybody who's here, but I'm not going to say that. Cleaning Machine, you're awesome. Thanks for your commitment to us all. I mean, it's a pleasure. It really is. It makes it's very easy for me to get out of bed every day. All skipped over the cycle. Wild. I don't know if I would say that yet, Jason, but I mean, it's kind of looking that way, isn't it? Oh, there's a fatty zap someone just sent in. Anonymous. 5,000 sats with just some quotation marks. Wow. Wow. And look at this. This is there's a couple test comments over on Zapstream. I do see those. You don't have a profile name, but I do see the comments. And Bodhi says, Kieran, if you're reading this, know that we love this platform and will help grow it. Thanks for creating it and making it work. Yes. Big shout out to the creator of Zapstream, Kieran. And big shout out to whoever just sent 5,000 sats. That's fucking awesome. Thank you. Pedro says, do you think quantum computers can sometime in the future get access to the lost coins? I don't know. I know nothing about quantum computers, nothing. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do. I hope not. I don't think that it'll happen. Anything within quantum computers, I don't think it'll be ready for in our lifetime. Yeah, I agree with this. Quantum computers still can't do anything useful and likely won't be for decades, possibly ever. Agreed. And this is, you have to consider why all this quantum computer information is coming out right now. One is a scare tactic on Bitcoin. They're trying to keep the price of Bitcoin. They're trying to keep eyes away from Bitcoin, keep it down. But the other thing is like, yeah, researchers are fighting for funding. They want people to give a shit about quantum. They want people to invest in their company who's like a quantum computer builders. I don't know what the hell a quantum computer even is, to be honest with you. But yeah, and so it's like, or they have a new token. It's just a distraction. Jason says Bitcoin adjacent plays are the alts, MicroStrategy, options, and Mara. I agree with that. Badger says download the Speed Wallet, but haven't managed to transfer any funds yet, and the reference code EPN SI5 isn't valid. Is that what it is? I think that's what it is. I've had people sign up with that code, so I think it works. And I see Ahsoka zapped 88 sats over in Zapstream. Thank you, Ahsoka. Let me just double check that I'm giving you the right thing here. Speed Wallet has been the wallet that I've been using. I go between Wallet of Satoshi and Speed Wallet. And again, if anybody is looking for a new Lightning wallet, if you're in the US especially, because you can't use Wallet of Satoshi there. But yeah, it is EPN SI 5. That's the right code. So you just you download Speed Wallet, you enter in your email address, you make a password, and then it gives a little spot for the referral code, and that's where you put it in there. You get like 500 free sats for downloading a Lightning wallet. Pretty badass. Kyle says, how do you see the new administration's policies impacting future Bitcoin regulation and adoption? I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen with the new administration, right? Like Trump literally surrounded himself with Bitcoiners. Find somebody on Trump's team that isn't Bitcoiner. And even if you look back to 2016, Trump had a few Bitcoiners on his team. I know that it was a completely different landscape back then because at that time, that was Trump's first time through this whole thing, right? So he was totally reliant on donors to help him beat Hillary Clinton, who was a 95% favorite to win that election that day. He was very much reliant on donors, right? So he built this team based on who gave him the most money. So he had a lot of bad actors in his first administration in 2016. But this time around, I remember RFK said before the election, like Trump's doing it much differently this time. He's not taking any sort of corporate donors. Everything is privately funded. And they've been working on this transition team for 3 months. I think it's a lot longer than that. But if you look at the team he's building around him, he's got Elon Musk. He's got Howard Lutnick. Who's the new SEC guy? I don't know. He's a Bitcoiner too. You got Vivek. He's a big Bitcoiner. JD Vance is a Bitcoiner. Everything's going to be focused. This is where this whole thing is going to go to. Like it's fun to look at the price of Bitcoin going up, but just understand how big of an impact this is going to have on the economy. When everything is tokenized and everything is digitized, everything looks different. And when you have a government who's helping you with that instead of like putting you in jail, that makes a huge difference. So I don't know how I see it. It's going to be awesome for if you're a Bitcoiner. Hey, Craig's over there. Good morning, Craig. Morning, Jor, Arnie, and friends. Arnie was here for about 30 seconds this morning, and then he took off. All right, Separate X says, explain to me what is Bitcoin for a friend, how to store and buy in its future, and maybe explain the HODL strategy, asking for a beginner. How to store and buy in its future. Well, that's a loaded question. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a lot of different things. If you actually stopped and look, I know a lot of people think of it as money. A lot of people think of it as an investment. A lot of people think of it like a stock. But if you went down, if you made a list of like what Bitcoin is and what it has the potential to be. I mean, you look at technology, it's going to change everything that we do. It's the currency of the internet. So it is a money. It's the hardest money that's ever existed on Earth. It is fair. You cannot print any Bitcoin. It's decentralized. Everything before Bitcoin will be considered bullshit. And it takes some time, but if you understand how the Bitcoin network works and how every 10 minutes the ledger of who sent what to who and what people have put onto the blockchain, that gets sent out to 20 plus thousand nodes around the world. So you can't go back and change that. We've never had anything like that before. It's a big deal. It's much bigger than money. And if you think about like back in the day when you had all this information centralized in like a church or a library, and if that church or library burned down, all that information's gone. And we've seen that throughout history. And you have to imagine how different today would be if those churches and libraries and other buildings hadn't burned down. Like we would be light years ahead of where we are today, I believe. And so Bitcoin is a fair, honest, transparent ledger that you cannot go back and change. And so that has a huge impact on the monetary system, and it has a huge impact on record keeping. Right? I think it was Saylor who said, at some point, we'll look at everything before Bitcoin as bullshit because there's really no way to verify it, or it could be lost or burned or whatever. So it is a whole bunch of different things. It's something that's going to change our future and the direction of our future forever. It's the biggest thing that has ever happened to the world, in my opinion. For those reasons, how to store it. I mean, the one thing I would say is for somebody who's just getting into Bitcoin, like keep it very simple. You can download a wallet for free on your phone, get like a Moon wallet, get a Speed wallet, get something like that. Just start there. Don't go out and spend a whole bunch of money on devices. Start there, continue learning, and then you can invest as your knowledge grows. Explain the HODL strategy. Well, I mean, you have to think about Bitcoin very similar to like a farmer thinks about land, right? Because there's pretty much three things I think in life that are truly scarce. Number one is time. Number two is land, like scarce land, desirable land, oceanfront property, stuff like that. And then Bitcoin, or like really good farmland. So think about Bitcoin like farmland, right? And if you think about how farms work, they pass on generation to generation. They never sell any land. They just keep accumulating more. And whenever they want to buy a new asset, let's say they want to buy a new truck, a new tractor, a new quad, a new pool for the backyard, they don't go and sell off a part of their land. They don't, if they have 100 acres of land, they don't sell off 2 acres of land and go buy a truck. They just lend against it. They go to the bank and say, this is my land. I need some money. You can use this land as collateral, but you're not going to sell the land. And then you just keep passing it on. And so that's exactly what Bitcoin is. You never want to sell your Bitcoin. You're always going to be lending against it, just like a farmer does with farmland. So I hope that makes somewhat sense. I know it's kind of a tough question to answer without any sort of preparation to it, but that's kind of how I see it. It's very much like farmland. And it's funny because the other part of that too is like if you looked at a farmer, right? And this is I said this before and somebody called me a racist, I think, but whatever. It's not racist at all. It's reality. But if you look at, I said that Bitcoin is very much like farmers. Like they have the Bitcoin mentality. If you saw a farmer getting out of a truck, I know some ones are a little bit more eccentric than others, but like the old farmers, they drive trucks from the 80s. They wear jeans that are 20 years old, jackets that are 30 years old, hats that are full of dirt and oil and shit like that. You look at that guy and you might think that he's poor, but he has millions in the bank. He's got tens of millions in his land and in his grain bins. And then you see somebody else, you see a rapper or a professional athlete or a musician, and they might look like they're really rich. They're driving a brand new Lamborghini, but they're not rich at all. They don't hold any real assets. Every time they get fiat, they just spend it on dumb shit. We saw that guy from the Dumb Money podcast the other day. He had a whole rack of sneakers behind him. And I think the society that we came from would look at that and say, "Oh, this guy must be doing well. He's got a bunch of fucking sneakers behind him." So that's how I look at like Bitcoin and fiat. As Bitcoiners and farmers, they are very responsible with their money. They put their energy and their time into real assets and don't spend it on dumb shit. Whereas the fiat system, they might look rich, but they either are full of debt or they don't have any sort of real assets. They're holding their wealth in sneakers. I probably shouldn't have taken half an hour to answer a question. Badger says, tried that, but it's not working here in the UK. I will try adding some sats once I get spare wallet on a fresh laptop and Trezor. All right, I'm not sure what that was in relation to. What was that? Oh, what do we got here? We got 2,100 sats. Somebody sent in from YouTube, it looks like. It says, plowing snow again, ready to sell the storage units and be a snowbird. Oh, yeah. I know who that's from. Me too, man. Me too. Thank you for that. And good luck. At least it's not cold today. It's only, what, it only feels like minus 30 here today, so you should be fine. A lot of places that get a lot of snow, it's like they just get dumped on and then it melts and it's like kind of mild weather. But here it's like we get absolutely dumped on and then it's minus 30 degrees. I don't know. I don't understand it myself. So Senor Gringo Poppy, hello from ATL. Good morning. Hey, Miss V Fudd. Haven't seen Miss V Fudd in the morning for a while. Good to see you. So it was my favorite. This account here, I don't know if it's a he or a she, but this account probably was one of my first viewers on the channel. And I would always talk about ShakePay. And Miss V Fudd would say, please stop talking about ShakePay. Please stop talking about ShakePay. And I have. So that was their goal, their mission, and they accomplished it. Got Arnie hair in my mouth. Fucking Arnie's hair everywhere. Oh. Everywhere. Every time I make a meal, every time I pour a drink, there's Arnie hair floating around. Good thing it's not like thick like human hair is, but still. Noah says, do you think we are still in a 4-year cycle, or do you think with the institutions buying, we're going to a permabull? I don't know. I have no idea. I would lean towards we're probably not going to see an 80% drawdown like we have in the past. There's just the floor is too strong. The foundation is too strong. There's way too much demand. There's not enough supply. But there could also be something happen that I have no idea what it would be. No idea. And it could cause a huge crash, but I don't think it'll last very long. I don't think it's going to be drawn out like a couple of years like it has in the past. So that's what I would say on that. Rick says, people are so used to getting so many things for free that they just expect to pay nothing for someone's time now. Honestly, it sucks. I say it as a fellow content creator. It is, and that's part of the whole new world and society and economy that we're moving into. Is like it's much different from the other one. And I compared myself to a teacher yesterday, right? I said, like, teachers in the old system, the old economy, they get paid $100,000 to teach a curriculum. And I'm not shitting on teachers here. I know some really good teachers. I know some really shitty teachers as well. But like they get paid $100,000 to show up and read the same curriculum every year. Most of them, not all of them, most of them. And kids go there. I know it seems like education's free, but we pay taxes, which fund the schools, right? The schools aren't free. The teachers aren't doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're being paid very well. They're being compensated. They get summers off. And so if you compare that to somebody like me, that's kind of the closest thing I would compare myself to from the old world. And I'm not earning a salary. People aren't not only not paying to be here, but it's free. And people are here on their own time. Right. And if you take it even one step further, between college and university and things where they go $150,000 into debt for information they don't even give a shit about. And the universities are just like bloodsuckers. And people are doing that not because they want to, but because they have to get a job. Right. And so compare something like that to this, where people are just watching this on their own, voluntarily, for free. So, I think that the hard work and consistency will pay off. It is paying off already, but I'm not so focused on earning a salary right now and worrying about that. I'm more focused on building for the future and accumulating. I mean, these sats are a big deal to me. And, I talked about this last week, but people like Craig, like Bodie, like Letha, and I don't want to single it or leave anybody out here, but like without people like that, I would have stopped doing this long ago. And, you might look at 420 sats and say, well, what is that? 40 cents? But to me, it's much more than that. It's a feedback loop for me to know that they're getting value from me. They're enjoying what I'm doing here. They're showing that they're able to do that in a permissionless way instantly without anybody in between. But that's what keeps me going here, right? Most people look at that as like 40 cents. I look at that as like 420 sats, which is going to be big in the future. And it's a feedback loop for me, positive feedback loop. So yeah, I feel you, Rick. It is tough, but I mean, it's worth it to me, for sure. Josh, Ontario, morning, Jor and Arn. Good morning, Josh. You missed Arnie about an hour ago now. Okay, I'm back in the quantum stuff here. I'm gonna spit out my coffee here. Locks guy, good morning. And I saw a couple comments from people yesterday after our little feud with the guy in here, and Locks guy had my back, so thank you, Locks guy. All right, what else is going on here? Oh, we got Craig says, have you heard all the updates on nation state adoption? Rumors that UAE now owns most, 300,000 Bitcoin, and Qatar has invested. Today, CZ said China likely stacking via Hong Kong. Then there's DJT's plan. It's wild. And I mean, maybe let's just go back to this quickly here. I think this is highly, highly relevant in that comment and what we're talking about here. So let's go back to the spreadsheet once again. I think this is maybe not for the third day in a row, but we've been talking about this. So let's dial in on what Craig's asking here. So on Tuesday's show, I gave a breakdown of who owns what in Bitcoin. And so we can see all the big wallets here, all the big players. But this is the part I want to focus on right now. So you can see here, this is before the strategic Bitcoin reserve. This is now. This is what things look like right now. So public companies own about 2.75%. The ETFs own about 6%. DeFi, less than 1%. Private companies own just under 2%. And governments around the world currently hold about 2.45%. For a total, the big boys own 14% of Bitcoin right now. Individuals own just under 70% of Bitcoin. Plus, these lost coins would be contributed to these individuals. So between the individuals and the estimated lost coins, we have about 77% of the Bitcoin right now. Over the next 25 years, the remaining, all this is going to be gone. I know for the next 50 years after that, there's only 5,000 Bitcoin that are going to be mined after 2064. So over these next 25 years, these coins are all going to be mined, and the majority of these are going to flow into the big boys. They already probably have a lot of contracts working, like BlackRock. They own a lot of these mining companies, the majority of them. So the majority of these coins are going to flow into the big boys. We might hit a couple. The solo miners might hit a couple here and there, but for the most part, these are all going to flow up there. So this should increase to about 20% over the next 25 years. But this is like a handful of companies and countries who currently hold Bitcoin. And if you think about 300 million companies on Earth are all going to own Bitcoin. Every country on Earth is going to own Bitcoin. Every church, every organization, every robot, everyone's going to own some Bitcoin. And so where's it all going to come from? That's the question, right? And so I did a little projection here, what it could look like in 25 years from now. And so I said public would go up public companies would buy about 500,000 more. That includes Sailors, that includes Marathon, that includes Apple, Microsoft, Google. I gave them 500,000 Bitcoin. I don't know if that's high or low. Time will tell. ETFs, BlackRock, Fidelity, I expect them to get another 500 to 700,000 Bitcoin. The DeFi, I don't know how much that'll change, kind of irrelevant. Private companies, based on what they hold today compared to the public and ETFs, I gave them about 200,000 Bitcoin. And then governments, I based this on the USA wanting to get 1 million coins. So I said they're probably going to increase by 2 million coins. But if you look back to what Craig just said there, you have to factor in the UAE, you have to factor in Qatar, you have to factor in China, Russia. And so I gave them 2 million Bitcoin there, 1 million of that going to the US. I'm guessing they'll make that work. I don't know if they will, if they're able to or not, but that's what they want to do. So that's the USA, 1 million. That's China. Maybe we'll give them, I mean, all of these big companies, all of these big players like China, like Russia, they're going to be trying to keep up with the US. So they're going to try to get 1 million as well. So let's just say that China gets 0.3 of a coin, or 0.3 million Bitcoin. You just need an M there. Let's look at Russia. They probably want to get at least 0.3 of a coin. Oh my goodness, this is tough to do here. Whatever. Let's look at Qatar and the UAE. I don't know if they're similar. I don't know enough about other countries to know. But let's say that Craig says they already have about 300,000 sats. So that's one. Okay, so that they'll probably want more though. So they'll probably be included in one of the other wallets already. So let's just say they try to get another. They can literally print money. They have so much oil and energy there. So right there, that is the 2 million, pretty much. And then where's all the other countries? And China probably wants to get closer to 1 million. Russia probably wants to get closer to 1 million. So where's this all going to come from? That's what you have to ask yourself. It's going to come from individuals. That's the only place that it can come from, because public companies aren't going to sell. These ETFs aren't going to sell. Private companies probably won't sell. And there's no way any governments are going to sell. So it's all going to have to come from individuals. And so it's truly up to us, the people who are here today. That's who's going to have to sell their Bitcoin to these countries if we want to, right? They can't make us sell it. They can drive up the price as high as they want to. 10 million a coin, 20 million a coin. I'm not taking any of your fake money that you can print for something like Bitcoin that's scarce and cannot be printed. And I know that there's a lot of people out there like me. And I'll give you an example, because somebody left a comment on one of the videos yesterday. And I thought it was very relevant, because I said, you know, the people who just get in here, they buy a couple hundred, couple thousand, they just want the price to go up. They have no conviction. They'll probably sell to these governments. But that, we looked at the breakdown of wallets. They only make up like less than 1% of Bitcoin. The people who have 10 million to 100 Bitcoin, I think, made up over 20%. So that's kind of going to be the key there, I think. And those people who have that Bitcoin have conviction. They have the education. They know where this is going. They don't want to trade fake dollars for real money. And so I really think that these countries and public companies are going to have to pay a shitload of money for your Bitcoin, if you're even going to sell it to them. But this was a comment that somebody said on a video yesterday. I took a screenshot of it. It was from R Walper. Said, like I said to you before in our email exchanges, I'll be sleeping under a bridge before I sell any of my Bitcoin right now. And you hit the nail on the head here. Individuals like myself don't need or want much. I don't need a mansion, a yacht, or a dozen vehicles. All I want is basic financial freedom, to not work a job I hate, and just enjoy life with friends, family, health, and hobbies. I have every intention of treating what little Bitcoin amount I managed to get as precious commodity to never let go of. And also, like you mentioned, I'll be looking into safe and reliable ways to use my Bitcoin to generate decent income, so I don't need to sell it and work anymore. I don't give a shit or crap about things like being rich or famous. And I feel like that's the majority of people who are in Bitcoin right now would share that exact same sentiment. So in other words, good luck. USA, good luck getting 1 million Bitcoin. It's a totally different thing. These governments, these corporations there's going to come a point where they understand that, oh shit, we can't just print this anymore. And the other point that I had there was that the longer you wait, the more they're going to have to pay. And I said, let's say it goes to 10 million a coin and you have 1 Bitcoin. How much do you need to how much would you sell? Like maybe you sell 1 or 2% of your Bitcoin, maybe, but you don't need $10 million probably if you're anything like me or our Walper. So then they get even more mad. They're like, okay, well, $10 million, we're going to pay you $100 million. And then it's like, okay, well, now I need to sell even less of my Bitcoin. I can get the same amount of purchasing power, but I don't need to sell as much Bitcoin. And it just, as the price goes up, we have to sell less of our Bitcoin to get what we need. Like it's wild. And the reason I do shows like this is so people can understand that. And then when that time comes and we look at Bitcoin and it's $1 per sat, we aren't just going out there and selling it to go back in the fiat world. We understand what's happening here. And the more conviction we have, that group of people, the less influence some of these countries and big corporations are going to have. Bond says, why Speed Wallet versus Wallet of Satoshi or Aqua? So why Speed Wallet versus Wallet of Satoshi? They're both very similar. But Americans, people in the USA, cannot use Wallet of Satoshi. So that's one. Speed Wallet versus Aqua. Aqua doesn't have a Lightning URL. Aqua is great for swapping between on-chain and Lightning, but they don't give you a Lightning URL. So if you want to have like a Zap stream, if you want to have a NOSTR, if you want to receive Zaps on NOSTR, you have to have a Lightning URL. It looks like an email address. So mine on Speed Wallet is that's like the one that I put up for Arnie there, right? That's a Lightning URL. This adopted son 98 at Wallet of Satoshi. That's a Lightning URL. That's what you need. So if your Lightning wallet doesn't have that capability, then you have to use something else. So my Speed account is Bitcoin Journey at speed.app. And that's also why I like Speed Wallet better than Wallet of Satoshi. I mean, I like both. I use both. But Wallet of Satoshi doesn't let you customize your URL. Speed Wallet does. All right, I see something happened here. Whoa. Look at this. Lox guy gifted 5 88 sat radio memberships. How does that work? I have no idea. Never seen that before. There must be an offer on the channel or something. I have no idea. But thank you. And for whoever gets those memberships, they'll be thankful to you, hopefully. I appreciate that a lot. That's kind of cool. All right, look at this. We got Bodhi. Let me see. Let me check the wallet here of Arnie. The wallet of Arnie. Bodhi said, though many expect something for nothing, the visionary sees that by providing value up front, many will follow the lead and start providing value, creating a valuable circular economy that will scale. You don't see it until you see it. 100%. 100%. And I just think that the world would look a lot differently in a world like that, where if somebody gives you value, you give it back to them. And the nice thing about things like Zapstream, the nice things about this, sending it through the QR code, is that you don't need permission. Nobody can stop you from doing that, right? PayPal's not going to charge a fee. They're not going to shut you down. It's only up to you. It's peer-to-peer. That's the beautiful thing. And it happens within seconds and for free, pretty much. Like, honestly, it happens within seconds. And these Speed Wallet, I send sats back and forth between Wallet of Satoshi and Speed Wallet. And it happens before, it almost seems like it happens before I hit the send button. That's how fast it is. And that's why it's going to win, because it's just better, right? Not only is it the hardest money ever, but it's like much better than what we have now. Kultur, excellent video. Thank you. And thanks for being here. Lux guy says, my mom said Bitcoin is a scam and invented by some guy named Nakamoron. Oh, shit. Good stuff. Trump wants to abolish the debt ceiling. Money printer will go burr. Yeah, Trump knows what he's doing. This is a good call from Jason too. Point your friend to 100 hours of sailor talks. Okay, look at this. Just Virgil says BlackRock. Look at that. See, whoever sent that, it just came instantly. 888 sats. Big flash. Just Virgil says BlackRock put out a video explaining Bitcoin just to show people that. That's what I mean. Like, not only is BlackRock putting their capital into Bitcoin, money, they're investing in it, but they're also building teams, resources, and everything to help people understand Bitcoin. So it's not just money flowing into Bitcoin. It is intelligence and knowledge and education and the venture cap stuff. Like, that's why Bitcoin is going to continue to separate itself from all the other altcoins. Buck 52,000 says, I agree with 99% of what you say. I believe gold has a place in a portfolio, especially physical holdings. I do believe a part of Bitcoin's purpose is to divert money and attention away from gold. Well, oh, look at this. What do we got here? We get another zap. I'm thinking this is from Dale, who sent in 1,000 sats and said only 4 stamp seeds left. Manufacturer said more won't be available till January. I've been telling. I said, you want to get yourself a device. You want to get your stuff in place here, because as the price goes up, demand increases, and there's only so much supply. I mean, it's not like Bitcoin where there's a fixed supply, but it still takes time to make this stuff. So if you're thinking about getting yourself a device at all, do it soon, truly. And I'll bring up the pack here. These have been selling like hotcakes, and I got to reach out to Dale as well today, because I talked to somebody who bought one of these without using my code. But anyways, and the reason I want to talk to him is because I don't know if they want a discount or not, but just to see if there's anything we can do. All right, let me put this away for a sec. We'll get back to this buck 52,000. But these are the 2 packs. So like I just said, like Dale just said, that there's only 4 of these left, and there won't be any more available until January. So these 2, there's the starter kit right here, and there's a multi-sig bundle. And let's start with the starter kit. So with the jade, I actually really like these jades. I've been playing around with the one that we have here, and it's really cool because you can generate a private key from this jade, and it doesn't actually need to be stored. It doesn't store in the device. Like, the private key is not held there. So if you set this up properly with the QR code and with the air gapped, you actually, even if somebody found your jade, they can't do anything with it, because the private key is not stored on there. But anyways, they're great. They're air gapped. They don't connect to your laptop. And so you get the jade, you get some trading cards just for shits and gigs. And then you get this thing, which is what Dale's talking about here. There's only 4 of these left right now. So you get the hammer, you get the anvil, the guide, the punches, the letters, and then of course you get the stamp seed plate to put it on, titanium. So these are $425. I think we're gonna have to increase the price of these based on how much the Canadian dollar is tanking. But you can get one of these for $425, all that. And if you use the code 88SATS, 88SATS, you get it. Oh, there's only 4. So they updated the stock there too. You get 15% off of that. And this multi-sig bundle, the one thing I would say is, even if you're not ready for like a multi-sig setup yet, I would strongly suggest just getting these while you can. Because we don't know. We don't know what the demand is going to be. We don't know if they're going to be held up at borders. We don't know, as more and more people become educated on what these things are, I feel like there's going to be a lot more interruptions where people at the postal service or people at Best Buy or Amazon, they start getting in these. So you want to get yourself some devices here before that all happens. And I know it's going to be a bad thing. It might happen. It might not. but I just wouldn't risk it. So with this, you get the cold card Q, you get 2 jades, and you get some extra titanium, and then you get the stamp seed kit as well for $950 Canadian, minus 15% using the 88 sats code. And they should be shipped. They should be shipped within a couple days. And if you have any questions, if you need any help with it, you can always just call QuickBet. So shout out to QuickBet for putting those 2 amazing packages together. I know there's been a lot of people buying them. So thank you for the sats, Dale, and thank you for letting us know that we're drying up. All right, I got a feeling this is going to be a longer show today, so hope you're comfortable. Okay, $1.52. Let's get back to this. I do believe I believe gold is a place in a portfolio, especially physical holdings. I mean, I respect your opinion. I do. And I'm not going to tell you not to hold gold. I'm just saying it doesn't make any sort of sense to be holding gold right now, because what's going to happen here is I really think that whether Trump dumps all the gold or some gold, you look at what happened in China last week. They found $83 billion worth of gold in the ground. They just came across it. El Salvador, a very small country, found $3 trillion worth of gold last week. So what the U.S. could do if they really wanted to piss off their enemies like China, Russia, India, all these other countries who have been using gold as their strategic reserve, if they start dumping gold on the market, that's going to signal to the market that this stuff isn't really worth that much anymore. If Trump says we're going to sell our gold and we're going to buy Bitcoin with it, what do you think the other countries are going to do? The price is going to crash because it's going to be flooded with supply. And that's a really good strategy for Trump to take out that whole system. Holy, there's another fatty zap. 6,476 sats. That's an interesting number. I don't know what the meaning behind that is, but thank you. That's the fattest zap of the day so far. Thank you. So that's what I would say is like, what's the point? What is the point? And people will say, well, if the power goes down, I can sell my gold for food. Think about it. Power goes out. Nobody knows when it's going to come back on. Whatever food you have, whatever water you have, you're not going to exchange that for a fucking gold coin, right? You have to keep in mind here that if this happens, you have no idea when the power is going to come back on, when you're going to be able to buy food again, when you're going to be able to buy gas again. So you're just going to use what you have, and you're not going to trade it for anything. You're not going to trade it for Bitcoin. You're not going to trade it for gold. The only thing that's going to be useful in a scenario like that is food, water, and lead, guns. Gold won't do anything. And the other thing too is like you can get, I don't know how many ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold, but like if you look into the future here and you say, okay, well, maybe Jore's right. Maybe gold was the store of value for thousands of years, but maybe Bitcoin is going to replace that. So in terms of utility, what does gold have? I mean, it's a good conductor. It's good in jewelry, but like silver is used in electronics. It's used in solar panels. It's used in medicine, and you can get way more silver right now for gold. So if you're somebody who believes in like physical holdings, I would be selling all of your gold and buying silver. But again, I respect your opinion. I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's just my thoughts on the whole gold thing. It just doesn't make any sense in my mind. Bodhi says, I can remember months that I listened to Jor on the Daily Bitcoin Journey and could not get my wallet and NOSTR figured out. For anyone else out there like me, I've been there. You can do this. Living the Future community can help you if you want to go faster, or you can figure it out solo. I have a lot of compassion for the future Bitcoiners. Amen. Amen to that. It's just good advice. Like, don't get frustrated. Don't try to move too fast. Just take your time. You'll get it. Bunny's in the chat. Good morning. Nick's in the chat. Good morning, Nick. I'm about, I don't know, 100 comments behind here. And we didn't even watch the video I wanted to watch again. Okay. Sneakers are real assets in this society. I think you need to define your real assets here. Diego, good morning. Guillaume says, I see a hockey stick in the background. Do you still play? I'm drying my goalie gear with the S9 Space Eater. Quite efficient. I love that. Somebody on NOSTR or somebody on YouTube or wherever it was this morning said that they're using an S9 to dry their basement right now. The basement flooded. And so they crank up their Bitcoin miners and they're drying it out that way. But I do still play hockey. This is actually, where is it? Right there. No, right there. That's, believe it or not, this is actually one of my good buddies. That's whose wedding I was at in Italy in the summer. He plays in the NHL. And I traded him a knggolf hat for a hockey stick, a signed hockey stick. It's kind of weird to ask your buddy for signed stuff, but I don't know. Yeah, I think it is signed. Either way, it's his. But I traded him a knggolf hat for the stick. It's like a $350, $400 stick. But I mean, he gets them for free. So it was a good trade. I do still play hockey. I just don't play as much. This is a great point from Wanderlei Silva. Schwarzenegger, which I don't like. He's a douche. But one said, people say that making your first million USD is the hardest. So then you should start with the second. Therefore, every whole coiner should work on getting a second Bitcoin. Great advice. Great advice. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I don't like him. He also said, screw your freedoms. So Arnie can, not our Arnie can stick around, but he can kick rocks. Duncan's in the chat. Good morning. Ali says, I'm pondering joining Living the Future. Well, don't ponder for too long. I'll just say that. Don't ponder for too long. You have 12 days. You have 12 days to join. And if you join, you're going to be a very, very happy person in about 380 days from now. We got some pretty big plans. And maybe I'll just touch on this quickly because I think it is worth talking about right now based on where we are. So number one, I think I'm actually going to cut off the Living in the Future community. I'm going to have a cutoff there for people who are in the new venture, but I'm also going to cut off the benefits that Living in the Future gives right now on December 31st. That's my plan as of now. It might change, but that's the plan because we have we hit 88 members in the Signal chat last night. And I love it. It's always buzzing in there. There's always information flowing around. There's always questions and people helping each other. But I don't want to get more than that in there. I just think it'll be too much. So I think I'm going to cut it off December 31st. But the other thing that we're going to be doing here is we're going to take 2025. I'm going to work on this for the whole year. I'm going to put all my time and energy into growing this thing out. And it's going to be basically a community with education, with resources, with everything. That's what I'm going to be building for 2026. And so everybody who's a member for 2025 in the 8 Satoshis venture tier is going to, so on December 31st, 2025, it's going to flip. I'm not going to be getting the money from the Patreon anymore for this community. People are going to stop paying December 31st, 2025. And we're going to set up like a trust or a corporation. And with a new Patreon. So everybody who's in that group, they're going to, within their network, they're going to be getting friends, family, coworkers, anybody who wants to learn more about Bitcoin and be part of a community around Bitcoin, they can join. And it's going to be in Patreon. But instead of that money from Patreon going to me, like it is today, it's going to go into Bitcoin. It's going to go into a bank account. I'm going to automatically convert it to Bitcoin. We're going to build a strategic Bitcoin reserve within that. And every year we're going to be paying out dividends in Bitcoin. It just makes so much sense. And the reason the reason I'm doing that is for two reasons. Number one, because I just can't do it myself. I'm getting to the point where it's just too much. I can't scale it. It's too much as it is right now. And so I want to give as much value to people as possible. and I can't grow this thing. It can't scale with just me. That's the first part. And number two is like, if you look at the Living the Future community itself, you got people like Bodie in there. You got people like Craig, like Letha, like Duncan. There's a lot of people in there, and they're the ones who make it what it is. It's not just me. I'm just the guy sitting in front of a camera, and I'm the one who brought the people there. But they're the ones who are adding the value to that community. So I think that in my soul, that feels right to do, right? Instead of extracting from them and getting the proceeds myself, they should be the ones getting it. So this new venture, this new corporation or trust or however we set it up, everybody's going to have an equal share. Everybody's going to be equally incentivized to bring new people to this community, to help them with Bitcoin, and to share all the resources that we can compile together. It's going to be awesome. I think that this is going to be the future of how everything works in terms of a fully decentralized, equal ventures. And we're going to be trailblazers in that space. Truly. I know it's crazy to say, but like that's the reality of things here. Bunny says it's like $5 a month just for the chat. It's worth it. That's what I mean. Like it's Bodie. I think it's Bodie who calls it an MBA in Bitcoin, a $5 MBA in Bitcoin, because it's true. It's absolutely true. All right, what should I do? What should we look at here? I got some altcoins that I want to change into Bitcoin. Should I switch them now or should I wait for a potential altcoin season? Do it yesterday. Do it yesterday. All right, what else do we have here? Some conversation back and forth. I'm trying to catch up here. Let's take a little break here. Let's take a little break. I know people are getting tired of hearing my voice probably, so let's take a little break. This is the video that I wanted to watch yesterday, and so we're going to watch it today. It's about a 2-minute clip. It's with two of our favorite guys here, Matt Odell and Jack Mallers. But I love what Jack Mallers says in this clip, and this is something that I've been saying on this channel for quite a while now in terms of what the new world is going to look like and why it's important that people should be able to do whatever they want to do. You shouldn't have to go into debt to get a career. You shouldn't be forced into a job you hate doing just to pay your fucking bills. That it should never be the case. This was never the case in history before the Federal Reserve was invented, before we gave the ability for people to create money. And imagine what would happen if people could actually do what they wanted to do. Imagine what could be built. So let's listen to what Jack has to say here, and then we can talk about it after.
And she's a ride or die Bitcoiner now. But I said to her, I was like, that's the cool part about Bitcoin is like, you shouldn't have to be a financial professional to be able to just save your money long term. You should be able to just focus on what you love in life and just work hard, hold Bitcoin, and then use it when you want to in the future on things you need.
I talk about this all the time. The tax that money printing has on society is really difficult to even quantify, because you take an engineer or a doctor or a teacher and you turn
funds and whatnot, because they're not, nor should they be financial professionals, right? I was like,
to even quantify, because you take an engineer or a doctor or a teacher and you turn them into an engineer that also needs to understand central bank monetary policy in Japan. Or you take a doctor that also needs to master options markets on Robinhood. Or you take a teacher that also needs to understand derivative contracts. How much of society's time and energy is spent trying to outpace inflation and be an investor whilst also being an expert in their given profession? And what does that do to the world? It makes the doctor less of a doctor. It makes the teacher and their education platform lesser quality to their students. It takes the engineer, and that person's making mistakes because they're constantly checking Robinhood. And so when you print money, everyone becomes a speculator, everyone becomes a gambler, and the game is who can outpace inflation, as opposed to who can be good at what they do. I think even further on this point, my hope where humanity is in a world post Bitcoin and post AI, I'm hopeful that we see a art renaissance, meaning if artificial intelligence can do all of the operational work, like I don't want humans being lawyers or being accountants. I think if a computer can do that mundane work, if we can automate that and we can give people hard money that cannot be inflated and debased, then can people go out and pursue being a musician, being an artist, being a historian? Because right now you've got a class of humans like Gen Z and millennials. These people are $250,000 in debt and have a liberal arts degree. And what you get is, I swear to God, these are my peers. What you get is you get people that really want to study history, really want to pursue an art career, really want to make music, but can't afford to because currency debasement in the world around them, and we live in a world of monetizing debt. So what do? They become an accountant. They become some professional job that hopefully pays down debt over time. And maybe if they're lucky, they'll find the time and energy and space to pursue their artistic craft and their true passions. But the reality is, if you get up, you work a 9 to 5, and after you get off work, you have to go on Robinhood. You have to master the options market. You have to understand Japanese central bank monetary policy. Then you have to fall in love, find a way to reproduce, find a way to finance how you can reproduce, find a way to finance a healthy life, not to be obese. The reality is you've seen a tremendous decrease in artistic pursuits. And I think that's why when people say, well, why is the architecture in buildings not as cool as they were when I go through and travel through Rome? Well, because I think we've lost a lot of our artistic groundings and pursuits. Like buildings look boring, like engineering quality sucks. Teacher curriculum has declined because everyone is trying to keep afloat and has lost that innate artistic creative ability as a human. So I'm hopeful that if Bitcoin can fix the money and AI can automate a lot of like the mundane tasks of society, then we could have like an art renaissance and we can get back to artistic pursuits that are natural and beautiful, and people can focus on stuff that actually matters, because we live in a society that's sick and distracted and stressed. And the reasons are obvious, in my opinion.
I mean, I think that all makes sense to me.
Yeah, we'll see. I think we gotta open source a lot of the AI industry.
So, I mean, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And people always say, well, what's going to happen to the jobs? You know, like the AIs, the self-checkouts, what's going to happen to the people who are bagging groceries before? Do you think that somebody grows up and wants to be a grocery bagger? Or do you think somebody would look back on their life when they're sitting in their rocking chair at age 85 and say, I'm proud of what I accomplished as a grocery bagger? No. People have to do these jobs because the robots and the technology wasn't available. They need to put food on their table. So that's number one. So imagine if people didn't have to do these mundane jobs that they hate doing, and they could actually do things that they want. Imagine that. And that's what Bitcoin is going to create. It's going to create that abundance for the world. And the other part I would say that he talked about the architecture, and this is something that over the weekend, Bridge and I were watching a show called Hard North, I think. And it was about people in Canada here. There's 4 different countries, I think, one in the Yukon, one in Quebec, one in Ontario, and one in Newfoundland. But they just left the city. They went out to the bush essentially, and they built their own cabin there. And we're still watching it, so I don't really know how it's played out yet. But Bridge works for a construction company. She works for she's a project manager at a construction company, and so she's been kind of saying things throughout the show and giving me tips and stuff and things I didn't know. But she told me, because they were building one of these cabins with fir, like trees, fir. And apparently it's like the best wood. That's what they used to build houses with. That's what they used to build everything with, fir. So very heavy, very durable, withstands the test of time. That's why a lot of those old buildings that are 150, 200 years old are still around, because the quality of materials were much better. And she said that the wood today that they use to build their homes and on their construction sites is 2% fir. It's a mixture between spruce, pine, and fir. But the fir within that mixture, or however the hell they do it, or the tree that they come up with that they plant, is 2% fir. Right. So if you look at the inflation and what that's done to our currency and why everything costs so much, like, not only is it things cost way more, but they're way shittier than they were, the materials. Right. So the cost of it is just one thing. You're getting way less for way more money. But the actual materials that are going into that, that cost that much more, is significantly lower. So it's like a double-edged sword here. It costs way more and it's way shittier. And I couldn't believe that. 2% fir compared to what they used to use, just straight fir. And that's why things were built so well 100, 200 years ago, before the Federal Reserve, before they had the ability to print money. But it trickles down in every aspect, including our fucking wood. So I wanted to share that, just kind of appropriate with things we've been talking about on the channel here lately. And I was blown away by that. I had no idea. I knew the wood was kind of shittier than it was. Obviously, you look at decks, you look at how much it rots nowadays. But like 2%? Wild. All right, let's catch up on some questions here. Oh, God, I thought I was on mute that whole time. We got a question from the Zap stream. I don't know who it is. If it's not one thing, it's another thing. It's not muted on my screen here, but my microphone was muted here. Let's try this for the third time. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me. I don't want to say it. I don't want to have to say it the fourth time. All right. Somebody help a brother out here. There's 100 people in here, and okay, we're good. Okay, so for the third time, great question from the chat here. It says, at what size stack should I move to a hardware device and start running my own Bitcoin node? So I kind of want to break this down into a few different things here. So first of all, I would say that no matter what amount of Bitcoin you have, you should take 5% of that and dedicate that towards your security. And maybe your minimum threshold for that would be 10 million sats. Maybe even less, maybe 5 million sats. So let's say you took a couple $1,000, you bought 5 million sats. You're probably okay just to keep it on like a free wallet on your phone, just so you can buy more Bitcoin. You don't have to spend another $500 on your security. Just leave it on your phone. You're probably safe. Work towards a hardware device, but like up until 5 to 10 million sats, just keep it simple. Keep it on your phone. Use Sparrow Wallet, something like that. Just familiarize yourself with wallets and use a good one. So that's kind of the minimum threshold there. I would say after you have 10 million sats, you should be looking into a hardware device. But from there, let's say you have 2 Bitcoin. So what's that? Say $200,000 worth in fiat terms. You take 5% of that. You want to take at least 5% of that and invest it in your security, whether that's a device whether that's a multi-signature setup, whether that's multi-jurisdictional setup, whether that's hiring somebody to help you with the whole thing. You should be taking 5 or maybe a new security for your house, maybe a couple dogs. Like the more Bitcoin you have, you always take that 5% of your stack and put that into your security. You have to take it seriously, because what good is that Bitcoin if you're not going to secure it? And then the other part too is running your own node. I would say that should be everybody's long-term goal within Bitcoin. Anybody watching this, you should have a long-term goal of running your own node. But in the meantime, like if you're just still accumulating Bitcoin, like if you're a year, 2, 3 years into this thing, just buy Bitcoin. Just buy Bitcoin. Get there eventually, but spend that money that you would spend on a server or even an old laptop, or even the time that you take to do it. Just focus on Bitcoin. Just focus on getting as much Bitcoin as you can. And once you go through one cycle, maybe ish, that's when you should start looking into your own node. It is important. And again, it should be the end goal of every single person out there. And hold on. Let me disconnect this quickly. I'm still in the process of setting this guy up. It's been a bit of a battle so far. And I've been trying to record and document everything. But this is a pretty handy device if you're looking at running your own node. This is a Start9 server. So I'm going to use this for much more than just running a Bitcoin node, but that's kind of the first thing I'm going to do with it. But beautiful device. Very impressed with it. I'm still in the very early stages of it, so I can't really say a whole lot of my opinion on it. But these are from Start9. So if you're a Bitcoiner, if you got some free cash flow kicking around, get yourself one of these. Start running a node, start looking into it. You're going to need one of these in the future. You're going to make a lot of money off these in the future by owning your own data and selling your own data. So the best time to be buying this is today, I would say, unless you're still in the accumulation phase of Bitcoin. But you can get those from start9.com, I believe. And if you use the code 88SATS, you get 5% off, which works out to about $60 US. So that's how I would answer that question. Ginger says, what about Coinos? Should I switch? I remember you talking and liking Coinos. I do like Coinos. It's still the only thing I don't like about Coinos right now is that it's not very well integrated with NOSTR. And I don't know why that is. But I had my Zapstream and a NOSTR account that was connected to my Coinos wallet, and they weren't showing up on Zapstream. Some of the sats weren't coming through. I lost about 10,000 sats from people. They just didn't show up anywhere. The Coinos wallet is not properly integrated with NOSTR yet. I'm sure it's coming, but it's just not there yet. So again, I would use Speed Wallet over Coinos. For now. Coinos is great. It has everything in there, lots of functionality, but it's still not very well integrated with NOSTR. And I don't know how or when that happens, but for now, I'm using Speed Wallet. Somebody sent in 1,000 sats. Says, thanks again for the great shows. Happy Friday. Where is it Friday? It's not Friday today, is it? No, it's Thursday. Somebody must be truly living in the future. Yes, exactly. This is exactly what the big boys are doing right now. They are packing their bags before the masses are aware. Exactly. It's what they're doing behind the scenes. And I actually shared I wrote a blog on Monday morning and the week has been so busy that I didn't have time to put it on Patreon, put it on Substack, and put it onto NOSTR yet. I just finally did that this morning. And I talked about this. I said the banks are all packing their bags. They're buying a shitload of MicroStrategy shares right now and trying to keep everybody else in the dark. The big banks, the big funds can't buy Bitcoin yet. So they're buying the next best thing, which is MicroStrategy. And let me just tell you this. Let me just tell you some stats here on how much they're buying. So the National Bank of Canada, FI, now holds approximately 40,000 MicroStrategy shares. UBS Management now owns approximately 640,000 MicroStrategy shares. Charles Schwab Investment Management owns approximately 664,000 MicroStrategy shares. Swiss National Bank owns approximately 468,000 MicroStrategy shares. Sumitomo Mitsui Trust now owns approximately 343,000 MicroStrategy shares. And the International Assets Investment Management LLC owns approximately 239,000 MicroStrategy shares. They're not dipping their toes into this thing anymore. That's jumping in. That's jumping in. And if you look at how much, if you converted that into how much Bitcoin that is, that's significant. So even though these guys don't show up on like the wallet list yet, like they're holding a significant amount of Bitcoin through MicroStrategy. And they're trying to do it before everybody else catches on. All right, reusing addresses is bad. I agree with that. I think this was in reference to Nico's comment here. Reusing the same address for privacy purposes is bad. Yeah, I agree with this, Jets. Only gold you should hold is family jewelry. Kyle says, what features are on the cold card that are not on the Jade? Interested in possibly speaking with you for help with a more secure hardware wallet for my personal use. Thank you. That's a great question. So both the cold card and the Jade have air-gapped feature, which means you don't have to plug it in and connect to the internet or connect to a USB port. So that's kind of what they have in common. But the cold card, I would say, is much more functional. Like you can do, if you looked at the CoinKite website and looked at all the different features that the cold card has in terms of like trick pins, in terms of like if something happened, how to, it has so much more functionality. I encourage you, I'll give you the link here. But if you go into CoinKite website, like Jade is great, but it's just very simple. And that's kind of the downside of the cold card is it requires a lot more knowledge in terms of, knowing what you're doing. It's more difficult. It's more intimidating, but it has a lot more features than the Jade does. So I would say, if you're somebody who has like 10 million sats, 20 million sats, or you're just trying out a hardware device for the first time, like Jade is perfect for that. Very easy to use, very easy to figure out. The keys aren't actually stored on the device. How can I find this quickly? How can I find this quickly? Where's the features of this thing? Lots of options to buy it. I mean, what I would just say is just take a look around. Trick pin's one of them. There's the brick pin. There's the BIP39 passphrase, which you can use on the Jade as well. There's a login countdown. There's a whole lot of different things that you can do with the cold card that you can't do with the Jade. Again, you have to take some time. You have to learn it all. I don't know it all myself. It's something I'm working on right now to be able to offer to people. But yeah, there's just a lot more features with the cold card. Who's going to buy the gold if Trump wants to sell it? Exactly. That's my whole point. Like, do you think as all the gold bugs get older and older and start to pass on, do you think that their grandkids, the 20, 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds are going to be taking that gold and keeping it? Or are they going to be converting it to Bitcoin? And when all this gold comes into the market, who's going to be buying it? Do you think that people are going to be lining up at the gold stores to go buy all this gold? This is a great point. Cold card is the most fully featured wallet available. I agree with that. And there's a couple of really cool things and a couple of things that I use it for myself, which is a password generator. And you can also generate seed phrases from it. So if you have like one cold card, you can generate up to, I believe, 1,000 different wallets from that one device. So if you wanted to, and you can store them in there too, which is really cool. So let's just say that you wanted to let's just say that your mom had some Bitcoin and you want to help her through the whole thing. You want her to keep her private key. You give her a copy of that and you generate it from your cold card. So within that cold card, it's actually stored there on the index. It's stored there. So when you log into your cold card, you can see that seed phrase. So if something happened to your mom or her house burned down or she lost her seed phrase, you can regenerate it from your cold card. You don't have to keep a copy of it anywhere, but because you have access to your cold card and you generated that wall from your cold card, you can go back in there and generate it again. And so she can restore her wallet, which is I believe it's called like the Uncle Jim feature on cold card. So that's, that's just another thing too. And you can generate passwords on there. That's what I do for my important passwords. I generate it from cold card. I agree with this. I really agree with this. Jet says, in my opinion, if you're actually afraid of the internet going down at some point, you should be holding a bag of emergency dollars instead of gold. Agreed. And I still wouldn't even hold that. I wouldn't even do that. Hogan. Hey, Joe, I dropped into QuickBit last week while visiting Regina. Dale is an awesome guy. So much knowledge. Thanks for the recommendation. Love that. Love that. Pretty cool place, eh? I don't know if you're still in the chat or not, but yeah, it's a pretty cool place, that QuickBit. All right. Let's get to the end of the comments here, maybe. Brennan's in the chat. Good morning, Brennan. Yeah. I mean, you just have to walk through these things in your head and just see what happens. Oh, Dan. Okay. I forgot about these questions even. My God, I'm terrible at this. Okay. Dan actually did have a couple questions here. So you're in luck. Let's start with Dan. Let's start with Dan C's question right here. So, Jor, what are your thoughts around where multi-sig can go wrong? I mean, there's things that can go wrong with anything. You can go wrong with a single sig wallet. That's why I really think that unless you spent a lot of time learning how this whole thing works, you should not be trying to do this yourself. And again, if you have a bunch of time, if you have the drive to want to do that, totally respect you for that. But for the most part, I really think that if you have a significant balance in Bitcoin, not only should you be getting a hardware device, but you should be getting help from somebody who's done it before. Even if you go through it yourself, it's just nice to have someone there holding your hand through it, giving you some tips that you just would never think of, right? Because even the tutorials online, I've watched all of them, and they kind of just gloss over a lot of things that they just expect people to know. And for somebody who's brand new to the space and setting up this stuff for the first time, there's a lot that you can miss. Not a lot, but a few things. And even if it's just one small thing that you miss, that could be the difference between you having your Bitcoin in 10 years from now and not. So that applies to single sig, that applies to multi-sig. There's more things that can go wrong in the multi-sig for sure in terms of connecting them. But with Sparrow, I mean, it's doable. The one thing that I would say with the multi-sig is that you have to make sure that you have different people that you trust in your life, right? Because for multi-sig, you need at least 3 devices probably for it to be effective. And if you're keeping all 3 of those devices at your house, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of it. So you have to make sure that you have at least 2 other locations that you could leave a device. And personally, myself, I'm working towards a setup where I'm not going to have anything in my house. No seed phrases, no steel plates, nothing. That's where I want to get to. I'm not there yet, but that's where I want to get to. And we actually have this, you don't have to use multi-sig with it, but we have this brand, I don't think it's brand new. It's pretty well tested now, but a new protocol for this kind of stuff using SUBSTACK. So the one thing I would encourage everybody to do today, I'm going to bring it up on the show here. I'm going to find this for you. I want everybody to watch this today, because this is a brand new service that we're offering at Bitcoin Citadel. And the goal here for me is that I don't want to have anything in my house. If somebody came into my house, if it's a robber, if it's the government, whoever it is, I don't want to have any sort of trace that I have Bitcoin in this house. They could look through all the walls. They could look through everything. They wouldn't be able to access my Bitcoin. That's the point where I want to get to. And I believe that this super backed wallet, this protocol, can actually facilitate that. I believe that. And this is what we're offering as part of Bitcoin Citadel, and nobody else is doing this. So you can leave your keys, you can leave your Bitcoin in collaborative custody. You're still at risk there if the other two people taking your Bitcoin, because we never know what's going to happen. I say very unlikely, but if Bitcoin does what we think it's going to do, there's going to be stuff like that happens. So with this, we don't hold any keys. You hold the whole thing. We just help you set it up in a way where, again, you don't have to have any sort of trace of Bitcoin in your house, which is really cool. And that's where I want to work towards myself. And I'm doing it right now. So check out this channel here. And I didn't know that this guy was Canadian, but he is. So I want you to, if you have a significant amount of Bitcoin and you understood what I just said in terms of not wanting to have anything around your house that resembles you owning Bitcoin, check this out. And this is a new protocol that we're offering at Bitcoin Citadel, which is called the SuperBack protocol. So it says, introducing SuperBack, possibly the world's most advanced backup and succession planning app. And that you can find this guy, his name's Sun Knudsen. He's got 60,000 subs. He's been around. He's a very OG Bitcoiner. And he came up with this protocol for backups and for succession planning. And it's not just for Bitcoin. It's for any sensitive data that you have. Passwords, social insurance stuff, anything, any sensitive data, that's what you store in here. And you don't have to have any sort of trace of it around your house. So go check this out. Watch this video. Check out Sun's channel. It'll give you a good idea of how privacy and security focused he is. And then if you're interested in it, if you're interested in learning a little bit more, you can set up a call with myself and another member of Bitcoin Citadel, and we can walk you through it. We can see if it works for you. And it's going to be awesome. I've been talking about this for about 6 months on the channel, and we've actually put a few people through the protocol already, just kind of like the pilot group. And we're in the process of helping more people get set up with this right now. So this is kind of brand new for us, but I did want to share it today. I didn't mean to share it today, but I think it's a perfect opportunity to talk about it. So with that, you can use multi-sig, you can use single sig, you can use anything. It just stores the data there for you in a really, really cool way. So again, if you want more information on that, just shoot me an email today and just put like SuperBacked in the title, and we can set up a quick meeting with you to see if it makes sense for what you have. And again, it's going to be much more reasonably priced than like some of those collaborative custody solutions. They charge like 1% of your Bitcoin every year just to hold the key. So yes, it's pretty good, but like that's a ripoff in my mind. 1% of your Bitcoin every year? Never. No chance. So you invest a little bit. It's a little bit of an upfront investment, but even still, I think it's like $500 max to get everything set up, plus some time for us to help you with it. But you can get like a lifetime membership. And this is the cool thing that we're going to be offering with this. You're going to be able to get a lifetime membership with it. And so that lifetime membership is we're going to send you a package in the mail with everything that you need, and with some bags, some security bags where you can put it in, and you can give one of the things to your bank, and you can wrap it in a security thing so that you know that nobody's ever opened it, right? And you can send it to other people in different parts of the world. But the other thing you're going to get with that is a weekly security like update or newsletter to the things that you would never pay attention to, but the things that you need to be aware of. So that's going to be part of the membership, the lifetime membership. And we're going to do like a once a year or twice a year check-in to make sure that all the keys still work. Everything's good. You go through the process just to kind of refresh yourself on it. So very reasonably priced. And I think it is the best option. He says possibly the world's most advanced backup, but I think it is the world's most advanced backup and succession planning. I love it. And I'm just kind of like, the guy we work with is an expert on this stuff. He actually worked with Sun. And so it's very exciting to me because nobody else is offering this right now. So that was one comment there. Let's get to another one. Somebody in the chat says super backed. No, it's super backed. Super backed. Just Google super backed. What did I even search there? I just typed in super backed and it came up. The guy's name is Sun. He's the inventor of it. All right, what else we got here? Another question. Holy, we're almost at 2 hours already. Wow. How time flies, man. Time flies. What was the other one that I wanted to check on here? All these are kind of longer answers. American Desperado asked, George, my Bitcoin safe in a Tangem air-gapped wallet. I'm starting to accumulate a lot of sats and want to be safe. I mean, I've never used a Tangem. I've helped a lot of people move from a Tangem to a cold card. But I just think that if you have to ask that question, then it's probably not good enough for what you have. So if you're worried, whatever device you're using, whatever your wallet you're using right now, if you have to ask a question is like, is this good enough to keep my Bitcoin? Then you should probably consider looking at something like a cold card or a Jade or a multi-sig or a super backed or a combination of all of them. So I'm not going to shit on Tangem or anything. I've never used it. And yeah. Separate X says, if everyone can get rich with Bitcoin, who's going to do the work that we need on day to day? Robots. Crazy, but true. Crazy, but true. You think about AI, you think about robots, it's going to replace a lot of jobs. And they're not going to pay any taxes. And so people aren't going to be working. They're going to be focusing on what they enjoy doing. And in this scenario, because with this, we could have went down two roads here, right? With this AI, with this robotic world that we're moving into, this could have went two ways. The one way it could have went was that because nobody's working, nobody's making money, there's no taxes coming in, the government would say, okay, well, you need us. You can't afford to eat. So you need us. We're going to give you some UBI. And this still might happen in a Bitcoin standard too, but we're going to give you some universal basic income. And you have to do all these different things in order to qualify for that. Otherwise, you're going to starve to death. Sorry. So you're going to have to, I don't know what you have to even do. You wouldn't be able to post. You wouldn't be able to speak your mind, because if you made a bad post, they might say, okay, sorry, you're cut off. UBI is done. Or if you start working in an industry that they don't like, or supporting an industry, or supporting a political opponent that they don't like, sorry, you're cut off. You cross the street when there's a no cross sign, sorry, cut off. So that's where it could have went to. They would have been happy. That's the CBDC dream that they wanted. Their little wet dream of CBDCs. They wanted everybody to be totally reliant on the government. They wanted to issue these UBI, because then they would control everyone. They could shut down your bank account like that if they wanted to. But the world that we're moving into is going to be much different than that. On a Bitcoin standard, with scarcity comes abundance, right? So no, we're not going to be reliant on the government anymore. You're going to be able to work. There's still going to be needed jobs, right? Like robots and AI aren't going to replace everything. So you're going to either have Bitcoin right now, or you're going to be working for Bitcoin in the future. But the nice thing about that is they can't print Bitcoin. They don't have the same kind of control over that system that they would with the CBDCs. So, I mean, things could have went really, really bad for us had it not been for Bitcoin. Like really, really bad. Yeah, that's true. Kyle says people who don't buy Bitcoin now will be doing the work, and the ones who did buy will be their boss. Yep. Sad to say, but true. Because if you think about it, right now you can buy 1,000, or no, not even that. You can buy 600 sats now here in Canada for $1. But look ahead 10 or 20 years from now, people will be working a whole week for 600 sats. So that's why, that's what we're doing here. What's the Bitcoin Amigos song? Sats you save today become freedom tomorrow. That's kind of based on Jerry's logic. Buy sats today so your family doesn't have to work for them in the future. It's true. It's true. Yes, this is very true from James Bond. The point isn't to be rich. The point is to be useful. Great call there, my friend. Look at that. Jason says, my 50s bungalow was built with fur. It'll be here for another 50 years, probably, or more. Fur doesn't rot. Great tenacity. Yeah, and Captain Codeman's got a good point here. You can run a node on an old PC or laptop. You don't have to buy a Start 9 or an Umbrella or anything like that. Like, you can just download the Bitcoin Core software on an old PC or laptop, but you have to have enough storage capacity, right? Because what you're doing when you run a node is you're downloading the whole Bitcoin blockchain from January 3rd, 2009 till today. And that it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger in terms of size and data. Right. So that's all you, and every 10 minutes you get a new updated version of that. That's what you do when you're running a Bitcoin node. So you can do it on an old laptop or PC, but you have to have enough, space on there to do it. Holy, everything's running slow here. Like too many things open. Yeah, this is a good play. And this is why I love the super backed option, because you don't have to worry about this. You don't have to worry about storing your seed in your house anymore. But yes, I mean, if you're not into the super back stuff, if you're, kind of weary on it, then keep your full seed phrase in a secure location on site and leave the passphrase with a relative you trust in another city. Badger says, is Trezor BTC only back on the safe list of hardware wallets? Yeah, I mean, if Trezor is your only option, go ahead. Like, I think that there's better options than Ledger, Trezor, Tangem. Like, they all work. You're probably going to keep your Bitcoin, probably. But like, if you understand what you're holding here, why not take the extra time and money to get the best version of that, right? So yeah, I mean, Trezor is probably fine, but you don't really want fine when you're talking about securing Bitcoin. Holy, I'm running out of sats again on the Zap stream right now. I got to top it up again. Long show today. All right, rent's been paid. Rent's been paid. Ed says, do you have the 4T? Yeah, I went with the 4 terabyte one. I'm going to put some media and stuff, like my photos, videos, and stuff on there as well. So I went with the better one, or the higher one, I guess. There's a lot of good information in the chat here about the nodes. But Nico says, what's the point of buying MicroStrategy? Why not just buy Bitcoin? I'm not sure what MicroStrategy does besides buy Bitcoin. Yeah, don't buy it. Buy Bitcoin. It's good for people who have money stuck in the old system. I agree. Bitcoin's way better than MicroStrategy. Never sell your Bitcoin to buy MicroStrategy. But yeah, I mean, Captain Codeman, exactly. They're going to create financial products. They're going to use that Bitcoin as future leverage, and it's going to do very well, very well. But I would still rather hold Bitcoin myself. Whoa. Is this real? Yeah, I think Charlie need to do a little bit more looking into it, because as Brennan says here, it is absolutely legal tender today and will remain. I think that they took a loan from the IMF for like 1.4 billion, I think. And the stipulation with that is that It was something to do with legal tender. I think it's still going to be legal tender there, but they can't force people to use it or something like that. But it's just, yeah, I agree with Brennan here. I think that you need to do a little bit more reading into that, Charlie. Morning, Alan. Separate X says, how do I buy the jade here in India? QuickBit will ship it to you wherever you are. If you're in North America, India, Thailand, anywhere, they'll ship it to you wherever you are. I mean, you'll pay a little bit more. I think, I don't know. Badger says, smash the like, help the channel. Yeah, and if you're not, I've been noticing every time I post a couple new videos, they take away a few subscribers. So either people are actually unsubscribing or YouTube's just trying to prune me. But make sure to check to see if you're still subscribed to the channel. And you know, if you learned anything today, if you heard anything that you're going to implement into your own Bitcoin setup, consider sending some sats. Likes are great, but sats are preferred for sure. So you can send it to Arnie's wallet right there. Oh, we didn't give away any Bitcoin yet. Let's get up our banner here. We can't go 2-hour show without giving away some Bitcoin. Right? Right, Arnie? Fucking Arnie's too smart, man. He knows exactly when the show's over, and that's when he comes to hang out. I think he's actually camera shy. All right, let's give away some Biddy. Get your speed wallet out. Get your speed wallet out. Oh, I got to share this tab instead. All right, we ready? We set? What you got to do is you open up your Lightning wallet, speed wallet, Wall of Satoshi, Coinos, whatever you have. Open it up, press send. And the first person to scan this code here is going to win themselves at least 500 sats. Ready? Set. Go. $500 sats. 500 sats. Good question here. Oh, sorry, folks. I'm gonna have to cut this off because we're gonna go to the second part of the show here today. I was muted, I guess. Fucking hell. Oh, well, at least you got to see Arnie there. You couldn't hear my voice, but anyways, what I was saying there, you could probably tell by my finger and the 5. And I said, especially if you're in Canada, make sure you try out Bitcoin Well. They have features in Canada that are not available anywhere else. Some really good ones, especially if you like buying Bitcoin that nobody knows that you have. So thanks for coming by, Arnie. So with that, we're going to jump to the second part of the show here. Oh, look at that. And if you want to see Arnie, if you want to keep watching Arnie for a while, you can join us. I talked about the Living in the Future stuff we got going on. You can join in the show notes. It says join Living in the Future. Basically what you do there, and for those people who are new to the Living in the Future, is you just go to the Patreon feed, like go to patreon.com, find the profile there. You can click the feed, you can click the video, and the video on Patreon is going to be the full show every time. If you're watching it on YouTube on the 88 Sats radio channel, it's going to cut off. But if you go over there and start watching it from the Patreon feed, it'll be the full show. So we're hopping over there and we're going to answer some questions in regards to the 8 Satoshis venture we're working on. And Arnie's going to be here too. So check it out. Again, you can always join for 7 days. You can cancel after if you watch a couple of videos. Not for you, no problem. But the percentage of people who do that is very low, I would say. Oh, Kieran's over in Zapstream. Hi, Kieran. You had some nice comments about you today. Let me go back and read one for you. I don't know if you're still here or not. But Bodie said, Kieran, if you're reading this, know that we love this platform and will help grow it. Thanks for creating it and making it work. So big shout out to Kieran, who's in the chat right now. So that's it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the zaps, for the comments, for the questions. Sorry, everybody. Am I still muted? No. I don't know. I'm done. Okay. Jesus. What a shit show. Okay. Well, look at Arnie. He knows it's a shit show. Thanks, everybody. Once again, I appreciate you all very much. And I hope you join us in Living in the Future. You got 12 days, and then it's going to look a whole lot different after that. So we're going to hop over there right now, and we'll talk to you tomorrow for Friday. I want to say bye, Arnie. Say thanks for all the zaps. All right.